One man refused a powerful woman. One girl was told she was too ugly for love. Fate threw them together in the darkest night. And what happened next is a story you will never forget. Jackson stood in front of his car and stared in surprise. A woman was sitting comfortably on the hood. He recognized her instantly. It was Victoria, the wife of a rich and powerful man in the city. She smiled at him with confidence, like she owned the world. Victoria had always believed that anything she wanted should belong to her, including Jackson. "I've been waiting for you, my kitten," she laughed in a deep, teasing voice. Jackson didn't smile. He had been avoiding her for a long time. She liked him too much, and it was dangerous to say no to someone like her. But still, he had always pretended not to understand her hints. He hoped she would give up and leave him alone. Jackson was not poor. He didn't need her money or gifts. He was proud of the life he had built. In just 3 years, he had opened his own salon. It was expensive and very popular. People said Jackson had a special gift. He was a makeup artist, a stylist, and a hairdresser. The moment he saw a woman, he knew exactly what would suit her best. Victoria had first come to his salon recently. She arrived with drama and noise. Though his salon had other trained staff, she demanded only Jackson. He guessed they had met before, maybe in a restaurant, but he hadn't paid attention. But she had noticed him. Since then, she had made his life difficult with gifts, messages, and unwanted attention. Trying to be polite, Jackson accepted her as a client, but every visit became more uncomfortable. He joked with his staff that soon she would start sending flowers to his doorstep. Finally, he had had enough. "Victoria," he said seriously, "we need to make things clear. There can never be anything between us." She grabbed his chin and asked softly, "Why not? Is someone stopping you? You don't need to fear anyone. I'll protect you." Jackson pulled away. He knew she was dangerous, but he couldn't stay silent anymore. "I don't sleep with women who could be my mother," he said harshly. Her face changed in a second. Her smile disappeared. Anger filled her eyes. She stepped in front of the driver's door to block him. "I hope you know what you've done," she whispered. "You've just signed your death warrant." Jackson wasn't afraid. He was disgusted. "Do you have so little self-respect?" he asked. "Does your husband know what you're doing?" Victoria didn't answer. She just gave a cold smile and stepped aside. Jackson got into his car and drove away quickly. But he didn't see her pull out her phone. She called someone. Trouble was coming. Even though he did the right thing, Jackson felt uneasy. He had insulted a woman. She would definitely try to get revenge. But he wasn't alone. He had important clients, too. He could ask them for help. He reached home, opened the trunk, and suddenly heard a voice behind him. "Got a smoke?" Before he could answer, two strong men attacked him. One punched his head hard. Everything became blurry. They shoved him into his own car trunk and drove for a long time. Jackson lost and regained consciousness again and again. Finally, the trunk opened. They dragged him out. He managed to punch one man, but then they beat him badly. He tried to fight back, but it was no use. Then everything went dark. The last thing he felt was cold water on his skin. It seemed like he had been thrown into a river and left to die. Not far away, a girl named Madison was sitting near the river, crying loudly. She wasn't just sad, she was heartbroken. All her life, people made fun of her. At school, they called her the Scarecrow. She thought things would change once she started working at the hospital, but she was wrong. Madison worked as an orderly. It wasn't a fancy job, but it paid well and gave her experience. The hospital was going to celebrate its 25th anniversary, and everyone was excited about the party. Madison had saved money for a nice dress and shoes. She was even thinking of hiring a makeup artist. Then the head nurse, Caroline, came to her and said something cruel. "You're not coming to the party, are you?" Madison looked surprised. "Yes, I was planning to." Caroline replied coldly, "Our boss doesn't like ugly faces. You should stay home." Madison didn't know what to say. She just ran away in tears. She sat by the river, sobbing until she had no more tears. But then she saw something in the water. It looked like a man's body. She rushed closer and realized he was still alive. She helped him turn over. His face was beaten, his clothes torn. "Hold on, I'll call an ambulance," she cried. But the man whispered, "No ambulance." He could barely talk, but he didn't want help from the hospital. Madison was confused, but nodded. She helped him walk to her apartment. People on the street looked at them with judgment, thinking he was a drunk boyfriend. But Madison didn't care. She just kept going. She counted her steps. Almost there. As soon as they entered her home, the man collapsed. His body couldn't take more. By night, he had a fever. Madison wanted to call for help, but he had told her not to. So she stayed awake, took care of him, and finally fell asleep in the chair nearby. In the morning, she woke up and saw him watching her. He smiled and said, "Hi." She asked how he was feeling. "Like I was run over by a tank," he joked. Madison smiled too. "Want coffee?" she asked. He said yes, but asked for a shower first. She gave him a towel and looked at her small robe, then blushed. While he showered, Madison made coffee. When he came out, she was shocked. He was very handsome, even with bruises. "I don't look great," he said. "Probably looked better before," she replied. They introduced themselves. His name was Jackson. Her name was Madison. They shared breakfast. Jackson thanked her. "Not many would help a stranger," he said. Madison just shrugged. "My grandmother always said, if you're meant to drown, you won't die in a fire." Jackson laughed and told her he got hurt because of unreturned love. Madison was shocked. Love shouldn't beat you and throw you in a river. Later, Madison had to go to work. She told Jackson where to find medicine. He liked her. He looked at her face and saw beauty others couldn't. He thought, if only I could style her hair and do her makeup, she'd shine. That whole day, Madison felt worried. Jackson seemed kind, but still, a stranger was in her home. At the hospital, her co-workers noticed her rushing. "Madison must have a boyfriend," one nurse joked. Caroline said cruelly, "As if anyone would want her?" Madison ran out again, upset. Jackson noticed her tears. She told him everything. "They said I'm too ugly to attend the party." Jackson looked serious. "That's not true, and you're definitely going to that party with me." Madison shook her head. "No, it's embarrassing." But Jackson insisted. "Trust me, everything will change. I just need your help with something." He asked to borrow her phone. Madison left the room, thinking he might call a girlfriend or wife. But Jackson called his assistant, Alice. "Victoria did this," she said when she heard what happened. Jackson asked her to send some things. Madison later followed Jackson to his salon, and she was amazed. Everyone greeted her warmly. They treated her with respect. They even paid for the taxi. Jackson handed her a stack of money for the party. Madison was shy and said she had savings, but she understood. His gift was much more. Then he opened bags of makeup and said, "Let's begin." Madison asked who he really was. Jackson smiled and said he owned the salon. Then he told her his full story, how Victoria had tried to control him, and how her men had nearly killed him. Madison couldn't believe it. She shook her head. "I thought such things happened only in movies." Then the two of them began training. Jackson taught Madison how to carry herself, how to smile, and how to walk with confidence. He helped her find her beauty and feel strong. Madison started to believe she could change how people saw her. The big party was getting closer. On the night of the celebration, the hospital's restaurant was full. Caroline wore a tight black dress and looked around nervously. She hoped Madison wouldn't show up. But then someone pointed to the door, and gasps filled the room. Madison walked in with Jackson by her side, wearing a beautiful dress and glowing with confidence. Everyone stared. They couldn't believe it was the same Madison. Her makeup, her hairstyle, her whole look, it was stunning. Even Caroline was speechless. The nurses laughed and whispered. Madison didn't hear them. She was thinking about one thing, what Jackson had told her that morning. He had whispered, "I want to wake up next to you every morning for the rest of my life." And exactly 1 month later, they went on their honeymoon.